And good evening, everybody. Spenventure's here, coming to you live from the Bunker Man Cave. We are on another series of haunted stories, another one tonight from the book I got from the store uh, in Orlando. And speaking of Orlando, I'm actually going there tomorrow on a Spenventure, so be sure to take a look at that. Looking forward to that tomorrow, or late morning, early afternoon. So, after I have to take care of a few things tomorrow morning. But anyway, nevertheless, another book series, another story coming from Haunted Florida. Now, before. Wow, just had a moment. Now, before I get started on the book, the reason I have not been able to go on any Spenventures in a while or make YouTube videos is because over the past month and a half, I've been doing these online training videos in order to become a teacher's assistant at a school here in Brandon, Florida at La Petite Academy. Now, I had filled out their application a while back, over a month and a half ago, and then was called in to interview, and she gave me all these, the director gave me all these papers for the online training that I had to complete in order to get the job, or in order to be able to move forward. So, I finally was able to complete them yesterday. I completed all the modules. It took me a month and a half to do. So it was a long process, and it was just overwhelmingly, it wasn't difficult, it was just long. And a lot of the videos and stuff I had to write down because I had to take tests at the end of each section. And so I finally got that done, and just a long process of notes. I completed an entire notebook, 120 pages of all the modules and all the sections that I had to write down and take notes on to complete the test. Finally got that done or yesterday, and and then emailed my director to let her know that I finished them and whatnot. And so hopefully very, very soon, if not like in a few days, I will be able to start my job, my new job. And so hoping and praying on that. And nevertheless, let's get started and dive deep into Haunted Florida. Now let's look and see what today's story is going to be about. Let's look in the table of contents. Where do we want to go today? Let's stay in the Sun Coast. Let's go to the Haunted Lighthouse on page 47. This is in Key West. And here we go, right here. Oh, that's a lot. Alright. The Haunted Lighthouse. Lighthouses are rich in ghostly legend and lore, from coast to coast in the United States as well as abroad. Screw pile lighthouses were perfectly suited for many Florida locations because of their unique construction, which secured the lighthouses deep into coral reefs with iron pillings. South Florida especially needed the screw pile lighthouses because there are so many reefs lying just under the water surface waiting to trap unwary marine life as well. But pity the desolation of Screw Pile Lighthouse's keeper, whereas a land-based lighthouse keeper could live with his family on the property, raise a garden, play with his children, and maybe even work in some time for fishing. The Screw lighthouse keeper, held captive on what looks like a giant erector set on anabolic steroids, could enjoy only the last pastime, although some were able to bring their wives abroad. Each day, the scene remained essentially the same. More water, more sky, only weather changed. At the Carey's Fort Lighthouse, almost every night's solitude was broken up by noises of the night. The moans, shrieks, and screams, compliments, some insist, of Captain Charles Johnson. Ooh. Carey's Fort Reef was named for HMS Carysford, a British frigate that ran around on the reef in October of 1770. Somehow, over the years of the D at the end of the name got changed to a T. The first light placed on the reef was a broad light aboard a lightship, placed into service in 1824. Constantly blown onto the reef and damaged, that ship, the Caesar, was replaced by another, the Florida. In 1848, construction commenced on a 112-foot permanent beacon using the iron screw pile design created by Alexander Mitchell in 1836. Carey's Fort Reef Lighthouse was designed by Thomas Lanyard and Harold Stanbury and was partially assembled in Philadelphia. The ship then shipped to the site for installation. Army Lieutenant George Gordon Meade, who went on to attain the rank of general in command of the Union forces during the Battle of Gettysburg, supervised completion of the Carey's Fort Reef Lighthouse, the first 6 screw pile lighthouses still lighting the way for mariners along with Florida coastline. Construction took 4 grueling years, and the lighthouse was placed into service on March the 10th of 1852. Until 1960, keepers stayed in 2-story octagonal quarters and pulled 6 10-hour shifts for 2 weeks, then received a free week ashore. Then the lighthouse was automated, and in 1970, solar panels were installed to harness the sun's power to operate the light. Captain Charles Johnson was keeper for the Florida lightship and subsequently was named first keeper of the permanent beacon. Hearing what was said to be his ghost ranting, raving, and wailing in the early evening was discerning to visitors to the lighthouse, but the sounds were good naturally accepted by a corps of keepers. Skeptics say loud moans and groans were the result of the metal contracting as it cooled in the evening, but no one knows for sure, because no one's there to listen anymore. Today, the lighthouse, located 12 miles northeast of Key Largo, is off limit to visitors. The area around the lighthouse is well liked by fishers, snorkelers, and scuba divers because the reef fish are plentiful, the underwater scenery is spectacular, and few divers venture that far off the coast. Okay, so apparently the ghost who designed the Crayford Lighthouse in Key West, Captain Charles Johnson, apparently his ghost is seen around the lighthouse he had created. And so people sometimes hear things, maybe see, and hear moans and groans and shrieks all throughout the night. However, no one can see the lighthouse. Well, they can see the lighthouse, they can't go. No visitors are allowed to go visit the lighthouse anymore. And so that is how the lighthouse became haunted. However, some say it may be just the metal fatigue and it melting in the sun in the cool of the evening, which is being very compressed and condensed inside the lighthouse. So, thank you for joining me for tonight's story of Haunted Florida. Tomorrow is going to be more fun because it's going to be a Spenventure to Orlando. We are going to go to the ESPN Wide World of Sports Resort just outside of Disney World. However, it is still very much sports based. So I am so ready. It's going to be fun. We'll see you tomorrow on the next Spenventure.